Am I the jerk for fighting with my mom about my grandparents and my step and half siblings in front of my step and half siblings? This incident occurred 2 weeks ago, and I was grounded for 2 weeks, which ended yesterday. My mom and I, 16-year-old male, got into a dispute concerning my grandparents, who are my deceased father's parents, as well as my step and half siblings. My father passed away a decade ago, and my grandparents played a significant role in my life both before and after his death. However, when my mom remarried and desired for us all to live together, she clashed with my grandparents because they were unwilling to embrace her husband's children as part of the family alongside me. My mom never accompanied me when I visited my dad's family. I would visit my grandparents or aunts and uncles on my own. She insisted that her husband's children should be treated equally as family members and grandchildren, expressing her desire for more children and for our family to treat all of us the same. Despite her efforts, my grandparents refused, and my mom prevented me from seeing them for about a year. Subsequently, my grandparents took legal action against my mom for grandparents' rights, and they prevailed, preventing her from restricting my visits with them, which angers her. I enjoyed spending time with them, and they were always kind to me. Mom despises the situation. It has always been a sore point for her and her husband because they are not close to their own families, meaning that their children do not have grandparents or an extended family to provide them with additional gifts or experiences with older relatives. Mom frequently speaks negatively about my family, which has led my half-siblings to feel envious of not having grandparents present in their lives to attend events or invite them over. This has fueled my mom's determination to integrate them into my family. The recent argument occurred because my mom was upset with me for prioritizing a visit with my grandparents over attending one of my half-siblings' games. I had already rescheduled the visit once due to another commitment, and I preferred spending time with my family over attending the game. Mom began criticizing my grandparents, believing they should have accompanied me to support my half-sibling. I disagreed, stating that it was not their responsibility. She accused me of making it seem like a burden to love and accept them as family. She insinuated that I did not care about their feelings of rejection or their lack of material things. The argument escalated, with both of us raising our voices. My step and half-siblings overheard most of the exchange, which upset them, particularly my lack of concern. As a result, I was grounded, and my mom expressed frustration, claiming she cannot comprehend my selfish and indifferent attitude. Am I the asshole? You are not in the wrong here. Your grandparents have no obligation to your step and half-siblings, and it's your mom's responsibility to explain that. They should try to rebuild their own family relationships if they're desperate for grandparents. Your mom and stepdad probably want your grandparents to finance all the kids' education and include them in any inheritance, but that's not their problem. Am I the jerk for telling my dad I'd change my last name if he marries his fiancé? In June, my mother moved out of their shared home because my father is a narcissist and had gotten worse with me and my siblings as we got older. Between us moving and Christmas, he asked if I would be okay with him dating, and I wouldn't mind, of course. 4 months later, we had our first Christmas apart. One day, while my siblings and I are at his house, he stays out very late. I was incredibly worried and couldn't sleep. Turns out he was just at his friend's. After this, I tried to get him to tell me about his girlfriend, but he refused, which drove me absolutely crazy. So, out of my better judgment while he was gone to the store, I did a little snooping to see what her name was. I found everything, and I mean everything. Notes she's written to him from before, and most likely from when my mom and he were together, of her saying, "I've always loved you." I found a paper from a jewelry shop from December 30th with his name on it and the name of a ring. He's never paid my mom a cent of child support this entire time. He hasn't bought us birthday presents, or paid my mom back, and he doesn't buy groceries because it's too expensive. The ring he bought for her cost over $3,000. In March, he proposed to her, which I know because he wears a ring on his ring finger from her and a note from her in March, saying she can't wait to spend forever with him until death do us part. I told all of this to my mom, and she knows her. She's been working with my dad for over a year before my parents split. The fiancé knew about my mom and my dad, but she still decided to have a relationship with my dad secretly before they split up. So obviously, I hate this woman's guts, and I'm extremely pissed at my dad. I decided it's not smart to tell him that I know about everything yet. I wanted to see if he was ever going to let me or my brother know that he was getting married. He doesn't tell us absolutely anything for months until I check again and see a note from the fiancé asking what date their wedding should be in October. He was planning on getting married to his mistress without letting anyone know, especially my brother, whose living situation might change very soon because of it. This made me so angry. Anytime I was ever at his house, all I could think about was how little he cared for me and my siblings, and my hatred for my whole situation just boiled over. I fully cracked and told him that if he gets married to his girlfriend, I'm going to change my last name, and that I would never go to their wedding. His response was, "You just don't want me to be happy and that I need to stop being cruel to him." He insists I'm just being mean to him. Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk. Your mom should definitely take him to court for the missing child support. It's clear he's a textbook narcissist who only cares about himself. Don't worry, this new woman will end up suffering just like your mom and siblings did. Live your life away from him and focus on your own happiness. Am I the jerk if I don't attend a wedding as a +1 because I didn't get my own invite? I am really close with my cousin. Over the past 2 years, I have gotten close with the people in his friend group. I have attended a lot of parties they have thrown and have invited them to my birthday party. I felt like I was good friends with all of them, especially the girls. One girl, let's call her Kelly, is engaged to a guy in the group. Let's call him Ken. Kelly and Ken invited me to their engagement party about a year ago, to which I brought a gift and had a great time. About 3 months ago, my cousin came over to hang out and said, "You didn't get an invite to the wedding, huh?" I said no, I didn't. He then told me that Kelly and Ken really want me to come, but I must come as someone's +1, and I had to pick which one of the guys in the group to be my date. This caught me off guard as I honestly found it tacky. If they want me there, why wouldn't they just send an invite? Also, if you don't have space to host me, don't try to set up a complicated workaround to have me there. I just found it distasteful, but I was uncomfortable, so I chose one of his friends. 3 months later, I still hadn't been invited to the wedding by that friend, so I figured he had found another date. It didn't really bother me because the whole situation made me feel kind of uncomfortable. Well, he texted me today asking me to be his date. I told him I'd let him know because I might have work. After all, I didn't get a save the date or an invite, so I didn't have the chance to request work off. He told me the RSVP date is in 2 days. I also found this sort of tacky. Why invite me so last minute? He said that Kelly and Ken told him they really want me there. I thought we were all close enough friends that I would just get an invite. After all, I was invited to the engagement party. I honestly thought we were all good friends, but now I'm thinking we aren't as good of friends as I thought, or even friends at all. This whole no invitation +1 situation makes me uncomfortable. Would I be the jerk if I don't attend the wedding because I'm uncomfortable with this? Or maybe I'm being overly sensitive. I'd appreciate advice from an outside perspective. I think you are not in the wrong here. Why do they want you to make a grand show of choosing your preferred guy to accompany you? It sounds like an elaborate plan to get you to date him, which is pretty exhausting. I agree it's a tacky and potentially really uncomfortable situation to be placed in. Am I the jerk for telling my stepchild they can take a break from college without running it by their parents? I have a 20-year-old stepdaughter. I have known her since she was 8, and I know she is very smart, but school isn't her thing. Now she is in community college. Her first 3 semesters really affected her mental health. She was a science, technology, engineering, and mathematics (STEM) major and didn't want to believe that it wasn't for her, so she persisted until she reached a point where she stopped sleeping and eating due to stress. I persuaded her to change her major to early childhood education. She has been working at a daycare for 2 years and loves it. She seemed relieved about the change of major initially, but when school started again, she still felt defeated and lacked self-confidence. Consequently, she did not perform well this semester either. On Saturday, she came into my room shaking like a leaf, tears streaming down her face. She was either failing or barely passing all of her classes and was in a really bad place mentally. The first thing I suggested to her was quitting her job, but she immediately rejected that idea. She mentioned that her job is the only thing that makes her feel good about herself and that she needs it. So my next suggestion was for her to take a break from school, perhaps during the summer and fall, to focus on herself and address her mental health, hopefully with a psychologist. Starting the semester feeling defeated and believing she can't do it won't help her. She liked that idea and informed her father that she was going to take some time off to focus on herself. He asked who gave her permission to do that, and she said I did. Now he's upset with me for advising her to take a gap semester to seek therapy and build self-confidence before returning to school, stating that I should have consulted with him or her mother before allowing her to do so. He is considering making her pay rent while she is not in school, and became angry when I informed her that I would cover the expenses because I genuinely want this time to be about helping her and preventing her from experiencing breakdowns at the end of every semester. Am I the asshole for telling her she can take a break without discussing it with her parents and agreeing to cover her expenses when her father threatened to make her pay rent? I think you are not in the wrong here. At 20, she's an adult and can make decisions for herself. She's probably burnt out and definitely needs a semester for therapy and rest. She's not taking advantage of anybody and is still working, and it's better to take a little time off than to go full steam ahead and have a breakdown later. You've clearly created a safe space for her, and your stepdaughter is lucky to have you looking out for her. Would I be the jerk for telling my sister she can't remove me from my wedding photo and Photoshop herself into my place? My little sister, 28 years old female, is recently engaged. I, 30 years old female, got married about 6 years ago. Our mother died 5 years ago, shortly after my wedding. At my wedding, the photographer took a photo of my mom fastening a necklace around my neck. My little sister has told multiple people that when she gets married, she plans to hire someone with graphic design skills to remove me from that photo and Photoshop herself in my place. I have always felt hurt by that idea, and now that she is actually planning a wedding, I am wondering if I should put my foot down. At the same time, I don't want to add to her pain either. Shortly after our mother died, all my sisters wanted our mother's engagement ring. As my little sister didn't get to have our mother at her wedding and the rest of us did, I urged my dad to hang on to our mother's engagement ring for her. ultimately, she inherited our mother's ring. Once engaged, she decided to reset the ring so the only part of it that remains is the central diamond. It is a completely different design now. Next, we both wanted to use our mother's wedding dress in our upcoming weddings, but she plans to alter it beyond recognition. I proposed that we each wear it but not make significant alterations, but she brought up that I'm the only one who didn't get to have mom at her wedding, so I dropped my bid to wear the dress. But at this point, I feel inclined to draw the line at removing me from my own photo with my mom. Yes, I did get to have my mother at my wedding. If someone is going to be photoshopping someone out of that picture, I feel it should be me photoshopping my 24-year-old self out for my 31-year-old self. She also has tons of photos with our mom she could use for this purpose instead, as well as photos of our mom solo that no one would need to be removed from. Obviously, I can't force her to not do as she pleases with the photo, but would I be the asshole if I tell her I'm not okay with that and that she doesn't have my permission or blessing to remove me from my wedding photo with my mom? Encourage the sister to seek out an artist to create something special for her, rather than editing the wedding photo. It's hard to understand why the photo is a bigger issue when altering the dress beyond recognition seems more significant. Removing sleeves or making small changes might be acceptable, but completely changing the dress isn't the same. She already got the wedding ring and changed that, so there's no need to let her take the dress too. Am I the jerk for telling my sibling they need to get their child some help, and they can't keep ignoring the problem? My sister was a single mom to Ava, 9 years old, before she got married last year. It was just the two of them before my sister met Nick and moved in with him and his kids. Now it's Nick, my sister, Nick's 3 kids who are preteens or teenagers, and Ava. Ava has always had social problems. But now that it's no longer just the two of them, these issues are presenting themselves far more prominently and causing more problems than before. These social problems mainly revolve around how she communicates with people. She insists that what she likes is the best and expects everyone else to like it too, dismissing other interests as inferior. When her preferences are challenged or ignored, she becomes angry to the point of yelling at others, but then struggles to understand why they react negatively. She genuinely seems upset and confused by this. Additionally, she has difficulty comprehending why kids at school bully her and why she struggles to maintain friendships. She often inserts herself into activities without invitation and becomes upset or angry when plans don't align with her expectations, such as when playing with neighborhood kids who decided to go to the park, which she dislikes. This situation caused her to become inconsolable. There have been instances where I've tried to explain to Ava why her behavior may not be well received, but she adamantly defends her interests and fails to understand others' perspectives. Her interactions with Nick's kids indicate that they do not view her as part of the family despite my sister and Nick considering them a family unit. Nick's kids are distant and hostile towards Ava, showing clear animosity. A recent incident occurred when Ava turned off their video game console to initiate a different activity together, resulting in the oldest child verbally attacking her with hurtful words and expressing a desire to be rid of her. This led to a major meltdown from Ava, leaving my sister and Nick unsettled, yet my sister still hesitated to seek professional help for Ava. Instead, Nick's kids were the ones reprimanded. I stepped in and advised my sister to seek help for Ava and address her issues rather than disregarding them. I emphasized that Ava may need assistance in understanding social cues and behaviors, suggesting that there could be underlying reasons for her challenges that require a specific approach. My sister reacted negatively to my intervention, accusing me of overstepping. Am I the antagonist in this situation? You are not in the wrong here. Ava sounds like she may be neurodivergent and really needs individual therapy. The other kids are well on their way to growing an unhealthy resentment or hatred of her, which will only get worse the longer your sister and Nick put it off. A happy blended family takes hard work, and that starts with the parents meeting the needs of each individual child. Right now, your sister and Nick are failing all of the kids. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.